Hello and welcome to Current News. My name is Neel. In this special segment, we will discuss news which is important from the perspective of your exam. The bulletin of the last whole week which might echo in your question paper in the examination hall. Let's begin with the headlines. Supreme Court issues directions to the states regarding RERA. All states to mandatorily reply to centre's queries in this regard. So far, only 5 states have replied to centre's queries. Centre eases export promotion capital goods scheme related procedures. Government desires to increase ease of doing business by making the procedures easier. The scheme aims at promoting exports in India. Environmental clearance extended for infrastructure projects. Centre aims at easing the norms prescribed for these projects. Environmental clearance validity for River Valley projects will now be 13 years. Bernardinelli-Bernstein Comet confirmed to be the largest icy comet. Comet has been moving towards the Sun for several million years now. It was discovered by 2 astronomers in 2010. And Data Security Council of India releases National Cybersecurity Strategy Report. The report focuses on 21 areas for creating a secure and vibrant cyberspace in India. The report suggests various measures for increasing cybersecurity in India. Let's begin with news of the week. The Supreme Court has recently directed all the Chief Secretaries of States to respond to the queries raised by the Centre on implementation of rules under the Real Estate Regulation and Development or RERA Act 2016. The court has asked them to respond on or before 15th May 2022. It is worth mentioning that Centre had written to states and union territories demanding information about the agreement of sales rules notified under the RERA Act. However, only 5 states had responded so far. Actually, the Supreme Court had directed the Centre to examine whether the rules framed by various states under the RERA Act were in conformity with the interests of the home buyers. Besides, it also directed the Centre to examine if there were deviations in the rules framed by states to the rules framed by the union government. 3 months deadline was given for the entire process. The court directed the Centre to place the report by the first week of May 2022. The RERA Act 2016 was enacted for protecting the interests of home buyers and promoting investment in the real estate industry. All the state governments are allowed to make their own rules under this act. Consequently, there are differences in rules framed by the states. A petition was filed in the Supreme Court emphasizing the need for a model builder-buyer agreement. Framing uniform rules under the Act has also been underscored. It has been argued that the developers try to put numerous clauses in the agreement which common people might not be aware of. Hence, it was important for the country to have a model builder-buyer agreement in the real estate sector for consumer protection. The Ministry of Home Affairs has recently sent a proposal to the Prime Minister's office. It has been proposed that an IPS officer who does not come on central deputation at the SP or DIG level may be barred from central posting for the rest of his/her career. The latest proposal is seen as an attempt to address the shortage of officers at the SP and DIG levels at the centre. Currently, the rules state that if an IPS officer does not spend 3 years on central deputation till the IG level, he or she will not be empanelled for the central deputation. Moreover, due to the existing rules, most officers come on central deputation only at the IG level. It leads to severe shortage of the SP and DIG level officers at the centre. According to sources, there are over 50% vacancies at both these levels in the different central armed police forces and central police organizations which the centre aims to fill. Apart from this, most states do not relieve SPs and DIGs for central deputation as they have enough vacancies for these levels. Since there are fewer positions at IG and above levels in these states, these officers are sent to the centre. The Ministry of Commerce and Industry has recently relaxed various compliance procedures related to EPCG, that is Export Promotion Capital Goods Scheme. It is aimed at promoting ease of doing business by simplifying the required processes. EPCG is an important scheme of the Government of India for promoting exports. Under this scheme, imports of capital goods are allowed duty-free subject to an export obligation. That is, the exporter under the scheme has to export finished goods worth 6 times of the actual duty saved in value terms in 6 years. The objective of the scheme is to facilitate import of capital goods for producing quality goods and services and enhance India's manufacturing competitiveness. As per the new changes, exporters can file their export obligations by 30th June every year instead of 30th April. However, any delay will be subject to a late fee of Rs 5,000. Requests for export obligation extension should be made within 6 months of expiry instead of earlier prescribed period of 90 days. Further, the facility to pay customs duty through scrips for default under EPCG has been withdrawn. Recently, the Chief Minister of Telangana and his associates staged a protest demanding a uniform paddy procurement policy. The protest was organized against the central government's decision of not procuring parboiled rice. Telangana has been a major producer as well as supplier of parboiled rice over the years. So Telangana is likely to be affected by the centre's move. This is the reason behind Telangana's demand for a uniform paddy procurement policy. On the other hand, the centre is arguing that the market demand for parboiled rice is low. The demand for parboiled rice has come down even in the rice-consuming states like Jharkhand, Kerala and Tamil Nadu. Therefore, the centre does not want to waste money on buying the excess quantity of parboiled rice. Earlier, the Food Corporation of India used to procure parboiled rice from states like Telangana to supply to rice-consuming states. However, in recent years, parboiled rice production has increased in these states. Moreover, Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution has said that the current stocks of parboiled rice is sufficient to meet demand for next 2 years. Hence, it does not intend to procure parboiled rice from parboiled rice producing states as of now. Parboiled rice is a special type of rice that is partially boiled at paddy stage before milling. Actually, there are several processes for parboiling rice. For example, the Central Food Technological Research Institute Mysuru uses a method in which the paddy is soaked in hot water for 3 hours. The water is then drained and the paddy is steamed for 20 minutes. The paddy is dried and after passing through these stages, the paddy is taken for milling. It is to be noted that the process of parboiling rice makes the rice tougher. This reduces the chances of rice kernel breaking during milling. Parboiling also increases the nutrient value of rice. Moreover, parboiled rice has higher resistances to insects and fungi. According to Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution, the total stock of parboiled rice was 40.58 lakh metric tons as on 1st April 2022. Out of this, the highest stock was in Telangana at 16.52 lakh metric tons, followed by Tamil Nadu and Kerala. The Union Cabinet has recently approved a policy for use of land acquired under Coal-Bearing Areas Acquisition and Development Act 1957. Its objective is to facilitate utilization of lands which are no longer suitable or economically viable for coal mining. Also, lands from which coal has been mined out will be utilized. This act provides for acquisition of land containing or likely to contain coal deposits. Under this act, land is acquired for government companies only for purpose of coal mining. According to the government, the lands which are mined out or are unsuitable for coal mining are prone to unauthorized encroachment. Besides, they entail expenditure on security and maintenance. Under this policy, the government aims to establish various coal and energy-related infrastructure on these lands. The lands will be considered for activities such as rehabilitation of affected families, constructing railway sidings, setting up of thermal power projects, etc. Development of such infrastructure will help promote local manufacturing and industries. It would also lead to generation of a large number of direct and indirect employment. The Act provides that there will be no change in the land ownership. It means that the government coal companies such as Coal India Limited and its subsidiaries shall remain owners of these lands acquired under the CBA Act. However, the government company which owns the land could lease such land for a specific period. The entities for leasing shall be selected through a transparent, fair and competitive bid process in order to achieve optimal value. Recently, the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change has extended the tenure of environmental clearance granted to existing or new infrastructure projects. The ministry has taken this decision for easing the norms prescribed for infrastructure projects. After this decision, the validity of environmental clearance for river valley projects will be 13 years. Also, the validity for environmental clearance for nuclear power projects or nuclear fuel processing projects will be 15 years. Projects and activities other than mining and river valley projects will have their environmental clearance valid for 10 years. Actually, these projects have high gestation period due to delays in forest clearance, land acquisition, local issues and rehabilitation, etc. Whereas these projects are granted environmental clearance for a very limited period. Against this backdrop, the validity of such environmental clearance has been extended. Environmental clearance is a long-drawn process which is mandatory for some projects. This involves stating the terms of reference, preparing environment impact assessment report of a potential project, and sometimes public hearings. These hearings involve local populace who might be affected by the project. A recently published report mentions that there is an imbalance in nitrogen availability across the globe. Published in the journal Science, the report states that some places have an excess and others a shortage of nitrogen. This imbalance has been hurting aquatic and terrestrial life. The reason behind this is that both too much nitrogen and too little nitrogen affects the growth and development of plants as well as animals. Actually, the issue of declining nitrogen availability is not new. Some studies reveal that nitrogen availability has been shrinking in the grasslands of Central North America for over 100 years. It also added that cattle grazing in these areas have had less protein in their diets over time. Besides, many forests in North America and Europe have also suffered from nutritional decline due to waning nitrogen. High carbon dioxide levels in a plant dilute the nitrogen present in it and lowers the availability of nitrogen in the plant. Other factors contributing to nitrogen decline include global warming and disturbances, including wildfire. Nitrogen is an essential nutrient for plants. The growth rate of plants slows down in its absence. They produce smaller flowers and fruits. Due to lack of nitrogen, their leaves turn yellow and become less nutritious for insects, birds, and animals. However, excessive nitrogen accumulation in the streams, inland lakes, and coastal bodies of water leads to an increase in the amount of nutrients needed for the growth of plants in these water bodies. Consequently, it causes excessive growth of algae and other aquatic plants in these water bodies. This phenomena is called eutrophication. It leads to harmful algal bloom, which causes death of other aquatic organisms, eventually making the water body a dead zone. Recently, NASA's Hubble Space Telescope has confirmed that huge Bernardinelli-Bernstein Comet is indeed the largest icy comet nucleus ever seen by astronomers. The comet was discovered in 2010 by two astronomers, Pedro Bernardinelli and Gary Bernstein. Intensive studies have been done on the comet since 2010. The comet's estimated diameter is about 129 kilometers and the nucleus is likely to be about 50 times larger than other known comets. Bernardinelli-Bernstein Comet has been traveling towards Sun for several million years now and it is believed to have originated in the Oort cloud. The comet's estimated temperature is about -348 degrees Fahrenheit. The comet sublimates carbon monoxide from its surface, causing a dusty coma. It is to be noted that dusty coma refers to the large clouds of gas and dust present around the comet's nucleus. Moreover, sublimation is the transition of a substance from the solid phase to the gaseous phase without changing into the liquid phase. Comets are cosmic snowballs of frozen gases, rock and dust that orbit the Earth. The word comet comes from Latin word cometa, which means long-haired. When a comet's orbit brings it close to Sun, it heats up and spews dust and gases. The dust and gases form a tail that can stretch for millions of miles. Researchers have developed a plasma-based disinfectant which could act as a green decontaminant for COVID-19. The COVID-19 pandemic has brought forth the urgent need for decontaminants that can limit the spread of infectious diseases through contact. However, most decontaminants consist of chemicals which are harmful for environment and humans. This encouraged researchers to work towards greener alternatives for preventing the spread of infectious diseases. It must be noted that plasma-based disinfectant has been developed with the help of cold atmospheric pressure plasma or CAP. Plasma is the fourth state of matter which makes up most of the universe. When plasma is produced under controlled conditions in the laboratory, it is called cold atmospheric pressure plasma. Plasma-forming gases such as helium, argon, and air are passed through a high-voltage electric field for producing plasma. Consequently, stable plasma containing a mixture of ions and electrons is formed. It is worth mentioning that plasma generated by cold atmospheric pressure has the potential to deactivate SARS-CoV-2 spike protein, which is responsible for inducing viral infection in humans and ultimately causing COVID-19. In fact, SARS-CoV-2 spike protein binds to the human ACE2 receptor for inducing viral infection. ACE2 receptor stands for angiotensin converting enzyme 2 receptor, and it acts as a host cell for COVID virus in the human body. A new study published in the journal Science Advances mentioned possible reasons for the presence of more craters on the moon's far side than on its near side. According to scientists, moon's far side is much more pockmarked with craters than its near side. The moon is in a tidally locked position with the Earth. It means that the time taken by the moon for orbiting the Earth is exactly the same as time taken by the moon for rotating in its orbit. Therefore, humans are able to view only one surface of the moon from the Earth, which is called the moon's near side. The moon's surface that is never visible to humans is called the moon's far side or dark side. The far side of the moon has over 9,000 craters formed due to many asteroid collisions. In sharp contrast, the near side of the moon is dominated by vast dark color remnants of ancient lava flows. These stretches of solid lava are visible with naked eye as the dark patches on the moon. These stretches of solidified lava would have likely covered up many craters on the near side of the moon, consequently giving it a relatively smoother visage compared to moon's far side. The new study suggests that formation of South Pole Aitken Basin might be responsible for covering numerous craters on the surface of moon's near side. South Pole Aitken Basin is a large crater on moon's far side with maximum width of about 2,500 kilometers, maximum depth of about 8.2 kilometers. The new study shows that the impact that formed this crater would have created a massive plume of heat that propagated through the lunar interior. It is likely that this plume would have carried certain rare earth and heat-producing elements to the moon's near side. This concentration of elements could have contributed to the lava fields on the near side, which could have filled the craters on the surface. Therefore, there are fewer craters on the moon's near side than its far side, and the surface of moon's near side appears flat. Recently, the government of Bihar has sent a new proposal to the Archaeological Survey of India. It proposes to include the Cyclopean Wall of Rajgir in UNESCO World Heritage Site list. Similar proposals were also sent previously, but they were not accepted. The Archaeological Department of Bihar argues that the wall is one of the oldest examples of Cyclopean masonry in the world, and historians have recognized it as an evidence of pre-Mauryan history. Cyclopean masonry is a wall built with large blocks of stones without mortar. This technique was used in ancient times for fortification. Moreover, this department also says that Cyclopean Wall is similar to frontiers of Roman Empire, which was included in UNESCO World Heritage Site list in 1987. The wall located in Rajgir is more than 2,500 years old and is currently located in Nalanda district, Bihar. The stoned wall is about 40 kilometers long, and it was built in 3rd century BC to protect Rajgir from external attacks. It is believed that the foundation of wall was laid by Brihadrath, the then king of Rajgir, while his son Jarasandh got the construction of wall completed. Nalanda Mahavihara in Bihar and Mahabodhi temple located in Bodh Gaya districts have been included in the UNESCO World Heritage Site list, and some sites are included in the tentative list. Recently, the Data Security Council of India, or DSCI, has submitted its report on National Cybersecurity Strategy. The report focuses on 21 key areas to ensure a secure, resilient, and vibrant cyberspace for India. Some of these key areas include protection of critical information infrastructure and digital payments, state-level cybersecurity, and security of small and medium businesses. To implement cybersecurity in these focus areas, the report lists various recommendations. It recommends a minimum allocation of 0.25% of the country's annual budget for cybersecurity. The report also suggests setting up a fund of funds for cybersecurity and providing central funding to states to build capabilities in the same field. It also suggests investing in modernization and digitization of integrated circuits. Further, DSCI recommends developing cyber insurance products and cybersecurity services in India for critical information infrastructure. Also, cyber diplomacy and cybersecurity are focused upon for fostering India's leadership in the global governance of cyberspace. The report also recommends unburdening the judicial system by creating laws to resolve spamming and fake news and setting up exclusive courts to deal with cyber crimes. Moreover, DSCI suggests advanced forensic training for agencies to keep up in the age of artificial intelligence, machine learning, blockchain technology, Internet of Things, automation, etc. It is worth mentioning that according to a report in 2021, Maharashtra faced the majority of all ransomware attacks in India. Also, 1 in 4 Indian organizations suffered a ransomware attack in 2021, which was higher than the global average. The University Grants Commission or UGC has recently taken an initiative for simplifying procedures for an Indian higher education institution to offer programs in collaboration with foreign universities. The institutions will have to fulfill certain essential eligibility criteria for this purpose. After fulfilling the criteria, Indian institutions will be able to directly enter into Memorandum of Understandings with foreign universities. UGC has laid down certain regulations for collaborating with foreign educational institutions. According to the UGC, an Indian higher educational institution will be able to tie up with a foreign educational institution if it has a National Assessment and Accreditation Council grading of 3.01 or above, or is among the 1000 top QS World Universities or Times Higher Education Rankings, or is among the top 100 universities under the National Institution Ranking Framework. Also, the foreign education institution should feature among the top 1000 QS or Times Higher Education Rankings. Earlier, Indian institutions used to enter into such type of agreements under the UGC Promotion and Maintenance of Standards of Academic Collaboration between Indian and Foreign Educational Institutions Regulations 2016. But now these regulations will be repealed. Under the 2016 regulations, a foreign and Indian college or university could partner with each other to offer only twinning and joint degree programs. Here, the Indian students received a degree only from an Indian institute along with a certificate from the foreign institute. But now they can offer a third type of program, that is a dual degree program. Under this, both the institutes will issue a degree. It must be noted that these collaborations will be permitted only for the conventional mode of learning and not for the distance or online learning. The earlier regulations were very strict. Now the regulations have been simplified. Hence, collaboration between Indian and foreign higher education institutions is expected to enhance. Moreover, this move will also attract foreign students to India, which will lead to internationalization of Indian institutions. Let us now look at the 5 questions based on today's bulletin.
Questions for this series are: first question is, consider the following statements. 1. The Real Estate Regulation and Development Act 2016 has been enacted for protecting the interest of home buyers and promoting investment in the real estate industry. 2. Each state will have its own rules based on the guidelines of the Act. Which of the above statement or statements is or are correct? 1 only, 2 only, both 1 and 2, or neither 1 nor 2. Next question is, consider the following statements. 1. Parboiled rice is a special kind of rice that is partially boiled before milling. 2. Telangana is the largest producer of parboiled rice in India. Which of the above statement or statements is or are not correct? 1 only, 2 only, both 1 and 2, or neither 1 nor 2. Next question is, consider the following statements. 1. Bernardinelli-Bernstein Comet was discovered in 2010. 2. The word comet is derived from the Greek word kometa, which means long-haired. Which of the above statement or statements is or are correct? 1 only, 2 only, both 1 and 2, or neither 1 nor 2. Next question is, consider the following statements. 1. There are more craters on the moon's near side than the moon's far side. 2. South Pole Aitken Basin is a large crater present on the surface of the moon's near side. Which of the above statement or statements is or are correct? 1 only, 2 only, both 1 and 2, or neither 1 nor 2. Last question is, consider the following statements. 1. Mahabodhi temple was included in the UNESCO World Heritage Site list in 2004. 2. Mahabodhi temple is a holy place of Jain pilgrims. Which of the above statement or statements is or are not correct? 1 only, 2 only, both 1 and 2, or neither 1 nor 2.
So for the time being, that's all in this bulletin. Do not forget to like, share and subscribe Drishti IAS Hindi, English and PCS YouTube channels. At the end, let us have a look at few more events of the last week in other news.
The central government has recently extended the ceasefire agreement with the 3 Naga groups for 1 more year. These 3 groups are National Socialist Council of Nagaland NK, National Socialist Council of Nagaland Reformation and National Socialist Council of Nagaland K Khango. The central government has been trying to engage with various Naga groups to finalize the Naga Peace Accord. For this reason, it is entering into various ceasefire agreements with these groups. National Conference on Agriculture for Kharif Campaign 2022-23 was inaugurated by the Union Agriculture Minister recently. The conference was organized for evaluating the performance of crops during the last crop season and fixing crop-wise targets for Kharif season in consultation with the state governments. During the conference, the national target of food grain production for the financial year 2022-23 has been fixed at 3,280 lakh tons, while the national target for pulses and oilseeds production has been fixed at 295.5 lakh tons and 413.4 lakh tons respectively. IMF in its recently released report World Economic Outlook stated that India's economic growth is expected to be 8.2% in 2022. Thus, it has become the fastest growing major economy in the world. The report also mentions that the global growth rate is expected to fall to 3.6% in 2022 from 6.1% in 2021. Nexo company, in collaboration with global payments company MasterCard, has launched the world's first crypto-backed payment card. This card is linked to a crypto-backed credit line issued by Nexo, and initially this card will be available only in selected European countries. It can be easily used by 92 million merchants around the world where MasterCard is accepted. Investors can spend up to 90% of their crypto assets by using this card. WHO Global Center for Traditional Medicine was inaugurated in Jamnagar, Gujarat recently. This is the first center of its kind in the world. It aims at combining traditional medicine with modern technology and evidence-based research. The center will primarily focus on 4 strategic areas, which include evidence and education, data and analysis, sustainability and objectiveness, technology and innovation. This will increase the contribution of traditional medicine to the global health system. India and Finland have decided to set up Indo-Finnish Virtual Network Center on Quantum Computing recently. It aims at promoting innovation, research and development projects in both the countries. India has identified 3 premier institutes, namely IIT Madras, IISER Pune and CDEC Pune for this purpose. This decision has come in view of a joint meeting held between the 2 countries in 2020. Cooperation in newly emerging areas such as 5G, quantum computing, etc. by involving academia, industries and startups of both the countries was agreed during this meeting. Rajasthan has become the first Indian state to have L-Root server recently. This server will aid in providing seamless internet connectivity, e-governance and digital services in the state. It will also aid in strengthening the internet infrastructure in the state as well as enhancing the security of internet-based operations. This server has been installed in Rajasthan Bhamar Shah State Data Center, Jaipur in collaboration with an organization named ICANN. ICANN stands for Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers, and it was established in 1998. Researchers from ISRO and Indian Institute of Science Bangalore have recently discovered a way to make bricks by using soil from Mars. The bricks will be prepared with the help of bacteria, nickel chloride and urea. These bricks will help in constructing habitat on Mars. India's first radio channel dedicated to visually impaired people, Radio Aksh, was launched in Nagpur recently. It is a type of internet radio that will aid the visually impaired to ensure seamless access to educational resources and audiobooks. The Director General of Border Roads Organization stated that BRO will construct the world's tallest tunnel. This tunnel will be constructed at an altitude of 16,580 feet on the Shinkula Pass, which will serve to connect Himachal Pradesh with Ladakh. The tunnel is expected to be completed by 2025.